Yeah, so we just got the news today. I saw it. And let's give a shout out to our friend Stephen Meserve, who does the site 100 Degree Hockey, a phenomenal coverage of the Texas Stars down in Cedar Park, that Jordie Benn, after a long time in professional hockey, has announced his retirement. He played last year and actually won a championship in Sweden, I believe, against Leon Bixel. Is that right? Was because Bixel's team got to the final. Was that Jordie's team that won it?
No, because he was in the. That was because Jordie was in the ALLCITY, which is the second.
So he wasn't in the SHL. Okay.
Yeah, he was in the second.
I was going to say I saw under that article that he'd won a title in Sweden, and I went, wait a minute, that can't be the same, because I thought that would have come up. But more importantly, Jordie came as an undrafted player who played. He played a little bit with the Allen Americans. Played a little bit for one of the really cool names in the old CHL was the Victoria Salmon Kings, and then made it with the Texas Stars, and that really helped him grow into eventually getting a contract with the Dallas Stars, and debuted in 2011, 2012, spent all the way through the 16-17 season until he was traded to Montreal. But think about that: Dallas Stars, Montreal Canadiens, Vancouver Canucks, Winnipeg Jets, Minnesota Wild, and Toronto Maple Leafs, over 600 NHL games.
I think, I don't know if this is accurate. I read somewhere that it was like 17 seasons for 11 different teams all around professional, which is wild. And we remember him in Dallas, obviously. Anytime a brother plays with another brother, especially when it's a guy like Jamie Benn, it's going to be remembered. But do you guys remember Jordie Benn's saucer pass to Jamie Benn?
Ottawa.
Was it Ottawa?
Shorthanded.
Oh, man.
It wasn't a saucer. It was a flipper.
It was crisp.
He meant it for it to be a flipper, but it actually went saucering.
It was over head high, and it just landed so perfectly, and that just, there's nothing better. And Jamie buried it, and that's what I'll remember Jordie for.
That's a brother thing right there.
Always.
Persistence and resiliency, I think, is when I think of Jordie. And, he was 5'6" at 7 sometimes, did his job, penalty killer, physical, fight if he had to. And I think that, and again, where he came from and how he got to the NHL and played just over 600 games in the NHL. I believe he was a plus player by the time he ended up.
Plus 19.
Okay.
For his career.
And again, that's not easy anyways, but it's not easy when you're number 5, 6, sometimes 7 defenseman, because sometimes you're out there necessarily when teams and coaches don't want you out there. And so, but I think the most important thing is great brothers. When you saw those two off the ice, I think they were living together at a time when they were here, right, Sean? I think that, you can tell they're just tight as can be.
Yeah, Jordie has continued to live in Dallas since the trade. It's something where this has been his off-season home. Him and Jamie, I think they both got their green cards around the same time and started living down here before they got married even. I think one of the great things about the Jordie Benn story is it's going to be even more rare in the future if a guy works his way up from the ECHL to the AHL to the NHL. Well, just because opportunity is given out so much now on draft position, right? So rare. Like sometimes if you don't get drafted, working your way up is so hard. So the way Jordie kind of worked his way up, and I think his last name almost works against him sometimes. Like people will sometimes, like a fan base will sometimes like, oh, he was Jamie's brother. Like, no, he earned every single step of his career. And that's something that I think is a really important thing with the Jordie Benn story, where it's not about how he was Jamie's brother or anything like that. That was nice. That was a nice perk, and that was a cool thing where they played together. But his story is really one where it's a perseverance story. It's taking opportunity out of nothing. That, like, that's one where you gotta tip your cap to it. So,
and quite the beard.
Yeah, that's
who's the guy that compared
right here?
It was
Yukon Cornelius.
Cornelius.
I just sent it to John. I'm not sure if he can get it pulled up in that much time, but
probably not.
From what's he from? It's not from Rudolph. From the other one, right?
Claymation Christmas cartoons back in.
What's the name of that one?
Yeah, that is from Rudolph. That's from Rudolph. Yeah,
it's from Rudolph.
Yukon Cornelius.
The actual,
yeah. Sing silk. Yeah. Sing silk.
Do you guys not have lives outside of this? How do you know this?
Did you ever see?
You didn't watch
Rudolph?
This like your era we're talking about.
1940s.
When you were growing
up. I didn't watch cartoons.
Christmas?
I watch like prison
You didn't watch
shows.
like a Christmas show with your family?
I watch like shows like Cops and
Were you
on
watching
Christmas?
Cops when you were like 6 years old?
Oh, I was living it.
That explains so many things. You know?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that was. I want to say they did that in Buffalo. Or was it-
Minnesota.
It was Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So they put Jordie. They put a picture of
There it
Yukon
is.
Cornelius
Nice work, John.
on the jumbotron
Beauty.
at XL Energy Center, and then Jordie next to him, and it was. I mean,
It's pretty close.
and he even had a good sense of humor about it too.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's funny because they can grow some beards, the Benn brothers, when they want to.
Yeah, they can.
Sometimes Jamie gets real scraggly, but Jordie had it.
Jamie can do whatever he wants.
He does, and he does. He
Yes.
does.
And he does.
You know the other thing, though, about Jordie, and not just Jordie, the 6'7" defensemen, they are special people, especially the ones that they're special teammates, I should say. They know that they're not always in the lineup, but they're always the positive guys at practice, after games, during games. They're some of the best guys to go out with because they've found a way to accept their roles, and I think they're a delight for management to deal with too, and coaches. You know, because there's times when you're kind of not forced, but maybe the GM wants a certain guy to play, or maybe the contract says the guy's got to play over somebody, and they just deal with that kind of that scenario. So and that was Jordie, and there's a reason. How many teams you say he played for?
11
professional teams.
Or
Okay.
professional, sorry, 11 professional.
Yeah, and so let's not think about that he got moved from those teams. It's more about those teams saying, we want a guy like that in our locker room. We have some young guys around. We think he'd be a good mentor for them and, get through the process and days and things like that. So it just says a lot about the person.
Joel Hanley, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's a perfect example.
Yeah,
He was
it's
he was here for
for
so long and just constantly just ready. And
there was
anytime
a point last year, I think
there.
I was kind of hoping he was still here.
Well, there was a point going into the playoffs
There
when
you
some
go.
injuries happened where you
Yeah.
were sitting there going, and it was before you knew that Alex Petrovic was going to step up and play the way he did. You go, boy, we could really
How
use
come
Joel
we're not
Hanley
talking
right
about
now.
him?
We
though?
should talk about Joel Hanley.
Want to talk about him?
Mostly so we can look at his kid play golf. Have you seen his kid?
Oh my God!
This is courtesy of my girlfriend.
yeah.
Thank you, Katie. She watches all the players' Instagrams and everything. His kid is already an
So
unbelievable golfer.
You need to find that video.
Okay, done.
And get it to John. We'll show it on our show tomorrow if we can.
It's
And
crazy.
We can see that he's a savant.
It's wild.
Playing
Yo,
golf.
this kid's gonna play like pro golf.
Yeah.
Like Joel hit he hits a golf ball better than all
And
four
he's
of
like-
us.
he's like, what,
he, and
4?
he's, I believe, yeah, like he is. It's incredible. So
We'll find
yeah.
it.
Well,
Buy
congratulations,
future
Jordie.
stock in Hanley.
Congrats to Jordie on a
Sleeper.
tremendous
Big time
professional
sleeper.
career. Honestly, I got to know Jordie in the AHL first. I was with the Texas Stars. He was there. He was an awesome teammate, good guy to work with. I remember one time he got called up to the NHL team, and it was the Dallas Stars were not playing well at the time. I think Glenn Gulletson was the coach, and they were having a tough time, and he got sent back down, and the Texas Stars were first place and playing extremely well. And I
was
remember
when Rope and them were still there, or was that
no,
before that?
no, way
This is
before that. Yeah. It was when Jack Campbell and Christopher Nilstorp
Okay.
were our goalies in the AHL. And I asked Jordie, I said, was it tough to get sent down? He goes, I obviously love to be there. It's the NHL, but I'm having more fun here because we're winning. And some guys could be sulky, and that's fine. Nobody likes getting sent down from the NHL to the minors, but that to me was the ultimate. Wow, he loves this group. He loves this team. He's happy to be here. He still wants to be in the NHL, but he was okay because he saw what a great situation the Texas Stars were, and I always thought that was a great part of him. So.
Yeah.